Evening, boys.
Evening, Sally.
Welcome to The Chatting, your local pubcast. I'm Rob.
I'm Kirk.
I'm Mark.
And I'm the other Mark. 3 pints, Sally. And what are you having?
Do they do Prosecco?
Cheers. I'll fetch him over.
Evening, boys.
Hey, up.
Evening, Rob.
Evening, Rob. You alright?
I'm all right. Are you all right?
All good, thank you.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Listen, I've got a little bit of a treat for you tonight.
Oh, dear, here we go.
A treat.
I've brought something.
Was it a roasted egg?
I brought something and I've asked that Sally she'll give me permission, but give me a second.
Oh.
All right, okay.
All right.
Because last time he brought pickled eggs last time, weren't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's not like this time. It's a drink.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
Yeah,
here we
that's
go.
why I had to get permission from Sally.
I'll get the shot
Oops.
glasses, shall I?
Oh. Must be alcoholic then.
Right.
Here we go.
Okay, here he comes.
Do you know every time you do this, Rob, you look like you've been shoplifting?
Get me back
You got
out.
a rucksack with a carrier bag inside it, and you're pulling out stuff that's
For
got
the
tags
benefit
on
of the
it.
tape, he's
Right,
got a rucksack
before I
here.
reveal it, I'm going to tell you what it is.
Okay.
Oh,
It's a beer.
Way up,
Oh, okay.
Right up your street.
right up my street.
Now, this beer is by a brewery called Tiny Rebel.
Ooh,
And Tiny Rebel are
not very big.
a brewery from Newport in Wales.
Yep.
And they are, you've heard of Tiny Rebel,
yeah.
haven't you? They're a fantastic brewery. We're not endorsed by them, by the
Yeah,
way.
we're not sponsored. If you want to get in touch.
Absolutely. So, I've had this beer a little while, and I
Cannot
the
wait.
other day I was looking at the fridge, and I was like, do you know what? I've never had that. I need to share this with boys, actually, because it's a bit different.
How have you got beer in your fridge and you've not drunk it?
Well, I've not revealed it yet.
Oh no. Oh no.
So, Tiny Rebel are known for doing beers that are a little bit different.
Here we go. It's
Some
not
of
got
them
a
are-
Damien Hirst twist on it, and it's got a sheep floating around in it.
I've never had a bad Tiny Rebel beer, by the way, but they are known for doing some completely different types.
yeah, just get
There's
it
an air
out
of
of your bag. I'm
trepidation here.
waiting to see what... Oh, come on,
ready?
come on.
Worth it.
Of course I'm ready. I've been sat here.
Well, this is a Tiny Rebel. It's an Advent beer, and it's called Bloody Mary.
Oh,
It's not a
I
Bloody
hate
Mary, is
tomato
it?
juice.
It's an IPA Bloody Mary.
Well, that's
Wow.
that's going to taste disgusting.
So, we need some glasses, Mark.
We need some glasses. Yes.
Well,
Sally!
we only need 3 because I'm not having one.
No, you've got to have it.
What?
You can have a try. That's the idea.
Oh, God.
So, to give you some details,
Yep.
this is 7.6%.
oh
dear.
way up. Good
It's only-
night.
And the
It's only
description on
ketchup.
the description on the can, the description on the can gives you some, different things about the beer. So it says eye, nose, taste, Bloody Mary. That's all it says.
Hey?
Now, normally a beer would say it's floral, it's
Yeah.
All
sweet. It'll give you characteristics of the beer. This says Bloody Mary.
I'm intrigued as to what
That's
this is
it.
going to look like in a glass.
Right.
A Bloody
not
Mary
looking forward to
IPA.
I'm
this.
not looking forward to that. Have we got
I'm
any
not
Tabasco sauce and some celery?
Yeah.
Here we go.
Here we go.
Oh, dear.
Well, I don't mind that sound of the can opening. It's what's going to be coming out. Oh, hang on.
Way up.
It
4
don't,
out of 10 for the pour.
it don't look that bad.
I thought it'd be red for starters.
Yeah, I thought it'd be red. It's like, for the benefit of the tape, it's like a dirty beer.
Yeah,
lager.
like when you have a wee, the
See,
one
yeah,
after
you've
the
got a
night
really
before.
good pour going off here.
Yeah, it's that sort of look. Okay.
Right.
Right, come
It's
on,
not
hand them out
bad.
then. Come on.
It don't look like one. Thanks.
All right, okay, well,
Cheers.
Cheers, boys.
Cheers. I can't.
Have a good smell first.
Oh, wow.
Smells like rhubarb.
oh, it's a bit pinky, isn't it, when you look at it when it settles?
Yeah.
Smells like rhubarb. Smells like tomatoes.
No, I'm not liking this. Let's have a taste.
Oh, well, actually, that's really not bad at all.
Ooh,
That's really not bad
Yeah,
at
that's
all.
not bad. That's not as bad as I thought it were going to be.
that is actually really nice.
That is not bad at all.
Now then. That's
not
very
sh-
smooth.
And you know what? For 7 point...
7.6%.
It doesn't even taste strong, does it?
No.
Oh, Mark's using it as mouthwash.
Yeah. Honestly, get it frothing in your mouth. It really comes to life. It's fantastic, this that.
Well, I won't say fantastic, but it's
Well, do you know what?
it's not bad.
That is not as bad as what I thought that were going to be.
Even better, I'm really surprised.
What's next, Rob? Kebab?
Even better, what's even more surprising is it went out of date in 2021.
Really? Pour it all over me. Did it?
Genuine.
Well, waste not one.
For the
no.
benefit of the tape, Rob's just picked the can up and tipped it upside down to look at
Just
the
so
date.
you know, I only realised it went out of date in 2021 when I looked literally last minute last night and I was like,
I'm only drinking this if these three
I
idiots
thought,
do.
do you know what? I'll see how it pours. Tastes fine to me.
Yeah.
It does taste fine, and thanks for that, Rob. Keep the
thank you.
the different stuff coming. It's
Yeah.
always nice to try something new.
Absolutely.
And actually, yeah, it's not bad, not a bad
Yeah, I'm
tickle
happy
at
with
all.
that.
I forgot it's stolen this one.
So anyway, we've had another email in, guys.
Oh, okay. Cool.
Had another email from someone called Jake, and he's put, "Love the podcast, lads.
Lads? Hey.
Lads, I know, lads.
Yeah.
Yeah." It has officially become my favourite podcast
Oh, fantastic.
to listen to on the way back from the gym.
It's the first podcast he's found this, isn't it?
Yeah. As a Rotherham lad myself, I have 2 questions for you.
2.
We
okay.
love a question, don't we? So, what's your top 5 favourite pubs in the South Yorkshire area?
Way up.
Oh,
And what's
okay.
your top 5 music artists from South Yorkshire? All the best. Keep up the good work.
Now then.
So thank you very much, Jake.
Yeah, thanks,
Now
Jake.
then.
Thank you.
Cheers, mate.
So,
Where do you start?
Yeah.
South Yorkshire.
It's a good start.
Well, what I'm going to do is first of all, just through fairness, I'm going to discount my 3 locals. That
Yeah.
being the Horse and Tiger, the Red Lion, and the Bull Inn at Thorpe Hesley. Great pubs. They're all, pubs I frequent. And so I'm going to discount those 3 because it would be unfair to use 3 of my choices on local pubs.
And of course-
although I'm
and-
giving them a shout out.
And of course, the chatting.
And of course, the chatting.
Yes. Well, I can start by saying that I have an area of Yorkshire that I really enjoy drinking in, and that is Kelham Island in Sheffield.
Ooh.
Nice.
Yes.
Yeah.
I find the area just. It's got a great vibe about it. Do you know?
Yeah.
Like it feels, it feels very current. It's always buzzing, and there's always an atmosphere. And there's a pub there, Kelham Island Tavern, I think
Yeah.
it's called.
Yeah, it is.
Do you know the one? Yeah, really small pub, and yeah, I would definitely say that's my that would be my favourite. And I haven't been a lot. I really haven't been that many times, but every time I've gone, they've got loads of beer on choice. I like IPAs, I like craft beer, and they've always got such a varied choice of beer. So yeah, that would have to go down as mine.
I must admit, I like Kelham
Yeah.
Island. I mean,
Yeah.
I've been to. Is it called the Heist? I know that's the brewery,
Yes.
isn't it? Or
Yeah,
whatever. And I just really like the feel of it. And you sit there, and they've got some long, like wooden benches, and
Yeah.
just all about people drinking and meeting up together. But I think they've got some like 28 different beers on.
Oh yeah, there's
there's
loads.
loads, yeah.
And it's part of the
Yeah.
Slap and Pickle brand, which is
All
like
right.
I think that's the food chain, not food chain, but that's the restaurant side of
Yeah.
it. That does all the-
Restaurant?
we went in with that time, and we
did.
had the smash burgers and stuff.
We
and
did
it
it.
was really tasty.
I thought it was really funny because I remember ordering this. I didn't just look. I just looked at the stout thing that was on offer because I like a dark ale, a stout, and it just said something about chocolate and so I thought, yeah, I'm having that. And when he says, what size do you want? And obviously I was just like, well, a pint. And he looked at me as though I got 2 heads. And I'm like, well, no, of course I want a pint. What do you think? And he gave this pint. I took one big drink of it. And my God, it nearly blew my head off. And it's not until I looked after, I think it was like 14% or something.
Wow.
Yeah, I had another one though.
You had a pint of it as well, didn't you?
Yeah,
Wow.
A pint.
absolutely. So yeah, I do like that area myself. Yeah.
Well, you're all looking at me with some trepidation. I want to hear Mark's first.
Oh right.
Oh, you want to
Okay.
be right? Well,
Yeah.
I don't have that many, but one, I would agree with Rob. That's one of my favourite areas. Can we not say local pubs?
Yeah, of course you can.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I've got a local pub near me called the Gorilla Bar, which is quite good.
Oh.
Have
Oh,
you
Romarsh.
Yeah.
Romarsh? Where are you?
Mexborough.
Mexborough.
Sorry.
Mexborough.
So that's a good bar. It's near the Mecchi Riviera. Is it Riviera?
They call
Is
it
that
the
word? Am I
Mecchi
making-
Riviera, don't
Yeah, they do.
Yeah.
Which is next to the canal. So it's not massive, but they have loads of bands on right up your street, Marky.
Yeah.
So that's good. I go there a lot with my son. So that's one of my favourites.
What do you like most about it?
Is
it the live music
It's local.
element?
I don't, need,
It's just down the
I
road.
don't need to get a taxi
Yeah,
to
I can
it.
walk.
I don't need to get a taxi. I don't need to get a bus. I can just walk to it. And having good bars I think in this day and age, it's quite difficult to get a good bar that you sort of like.
And do you like the live element of it? The fact they've got live music?
Well, Listen, I generally don't go when they've got live acts because I'm usually working. But I've been there occasionally when they've got live acts on, and but they do quizzes, they do afternoon dance things like salsa classes.
I think
they have.
I should see you in a salsa class.
Well, me and Ethan went, and they were doing some sort of salsa class. Yeah, it was a salsa class when we went. I mean, they have E17 there.
Oh, wow, I mean, that's it. They made it.
All three of them.
Well, when I say 17, it's like normal, Motown bands where they'd like one member,
Yeah.
and then another member, and they all like. You can go, hang on a minute, why is there like 4 tops when there's only like one band? But they all split off, don't they?
It's
Doing
like
their own
S
thing.
Club 2, isn't it?
S Club 2, yeah. I've seen S Club 3. I've seen S Club 3.
I do think there's a lot to be said for entertainment in pubs these days, because it does give you something that's a bit extra than just going into a pub and just sat talking. It's nice to have that background of a quiz or something like that you can join in with. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Go on
absolutely.
then, Mark, you would carry what we saying?
Yeah, well, I mean, there's another place. I mean, it's not really a pub, but it's a place which I quite like, which is the Wool Market in Doncaster, in town centre.
Yes.
That's quite a nice place.
Yeah, I've only been there once, but I know,
It's just got a nice vibe about it. And
They've done it all up, haven't they? Like it's an old market that they've done out, and they've got little food outlets. And
that's it. Well,
Yeah.
And there's a Witherspoons nearby, which is cheaper, so that's always a bonus because you sort of can have like a couple of pints in there and go, right, you know what, I'll go to Witherspoons because it's a bit cheaper. And then there's just a couple of places that are sort of like there's a place at Blacksmiths, which is East Retford area. I know it's not Yorkshire, but that's a nice place that I like to go to. Quite a market.
what do you like about that though?
The food, atmosphere.
Right.
Just a good place for that.
Yeah.
Nice.
That's about it.
Marvellous.
Well, it's funny you should say about the Blacksmiths actually, because I was waiting for it to come round to me because I don't get out much. It's not something that I normally go out to pubs or whatever. Like I say, I do like going out to places like Kelham Island or whatever. But if somebody was to say to me, what's your favourite pub, it just doesn't exist anymore. So my favourite pub, I suppose, from a nostalgia point of view or whatever, was the Blacksmiths in Thorpe Esley.
Yeah, absolutely.
Is that where we used to play pool?
Pool.
And did they have karaoke at any point?
Yes, because I used to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
Do you
thought so.
know something? It's one of those. That is the pub. If I won the Euro Millions, and I don't know why, because it would be probably a waste of money. I'd buy the apartments that the people are living in. Move them in somewhere nice. So like, here's $1 million each. Off you go. Flatten it and rebuild the Blacksmiths.
Rebuild it.
Yeah. And probably I don't whether it'd do any good or not. I don't know. But try to do it like for like and just to give it back to the village.
I mean, fundamentally, it were tiny, weren't it?
Yeah.
It were tiny, but it had a
characters.
It had a lounge. It had a tap side,
Tap room, yeah.
It had a tap room.
Did you have a smoking room?
Back then you could smoke it anywhere, but no, it had 2 rooms downstairs. One side was the lounge, one side was the tap room. Pool table were in the tap room. And it's just my memories. That was.
And it was one of those pubs once it went pool table was in a space where it didn't quite fit, and if you're in a certain shot, you're up against wall, or they had a kids queue. That you used on that particular corner because you couldn't get the queue in properly.
Yeah.
I remember because you'll have spent a lot more time in that pub than I did, but I remember coming a few times and I'd come to play pool and you'd literally be like, yeah, just let him take a shot and then he'll be done. Kill the pool. I'd be out first. First 2 goes done. Hour out.
I mean, I have so many amazing memories just from that pub, and it would just I have memories of just literally one of them pubs where you could walk in and that there's somebody going to be in there that you know.
Yeah, it was a proper community.
It was a proper community pub, and I just think it's such a shame that like a lot of pubs now, it's flats.
Yeah.
It's apartments. It's flats. It got flattened and that's it. It's flats. And it's a shame because more and more pubs are going that way, aren't they?
Yeah.
And if they're not flattening them, they're still turning them into multiple residences, aren't they? Loads of bedrooms in them, and it becomes a multiple occupancy place. Yeah, it is a shame.
Unless a pub really goes all out now on food, or it's owned by a massive chain that means they can get the beer cheaper and keep the prices low. Wetherspoons, like you said before, and stuff. What chance have they got? If somebody could gift me a pub tomorrow, and what would you do with it?
Yeah.
What would you do with it?
I know.
But I suppose that kind of goes for hospitality in general, though, doesn't it? It's really struggling.
Yeah.
It's really
It
struggling.
definitely feels that way. Yeah.
You know, and I don't think people understand as much. I think people are complaining a lot about how prices are going up, whether it be prices for food, whether it be, you know, what you pay for food now, what you pay for drink, what you pay to stay in hotels or for nights away and stuff like that. But the costs that are increasing in an industry like hospitality, it's absolutely crippling the industry. And I tell you something, if it all was to go tomorrow, we'd feel it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think it's sad, isn't it, when I suppose pubs are being bought by these pub companies, you know, and they're not holding, you know, the managers, if you like, or the tenants to ransom. You know, they do well, they want more, and you're tied into their sort of, you've got to buy this beer and that beer, and you know, and charging exorbitant
You're getting like me about not being able to pronounce words.
Exorbitant rent rates, and you know, and they, you know, then they've got to sort of pass it on by charging whatever they do a pint, £5 and £6 a pint. Well, it's probably not £6, but £4 and £5 a pint. And it's a shame because it does affect people, and then fewer people go out, and then, you know, they go to supermarkets, buy 3 for 20 or whatever it is on cases.
So do you think that's what it is that's changed then? It's the fact that it's the price that it costs to go to a pub these days?
I think it's multifaceted. I think society's changed. I think fewer people are doing different things to what we used to do back in, you know, we were kids. You know, your parents went to a pub, you went to a pub with them, you played at beer garden, there were swings and everything else. There are more and more pubs popping up now that are more food related, because that's what they've got to do to make the difference, if you like, because they're not making enough on wet, as they call it, or beer and wine.
Do you think people have become less sociable?
I don't think they have. I think there's just more things for people to do. So, like, I mean, I know there's always been cinemas around and bowling alleys and stuff, but there's so much for people to sort of do now. Like on a, say, Friday, Saturday night with family, like Mark said, you know, people off to cinema, they're off bowling, they're off doing crazy golf, they're off doing this. There's so many different avenues that distract people away from, say, a Saturday night in the pub, and I think that's the issue. It's a bit like TV, for example, where there's YouTube, so people aren't sat watching TV on a Saturday night. So I think there's just more things for people.
Yeah. In all fairness, Mark, that is a fair point. Even just TV in general at home, with all the different things you can watch on TV, even that stops people from going out, doesn't it?
Of course it does,
and going to, like you said, there's so many things you can do when you get out. Some people aren't even going out, full stop, because they can just watch. I've got loads of things I want to watch. I'll get a few cans in and I'll do it that way. And it's a bit cheaper, I guess.
Well, a lot cheaper. I mean, like I said, you know, if you're looking at £4 or £5 a pint, you know, and let's say there's a couple going out, and you're taking, you know, little Ronnie or whatever his name is.
Ronnie,
you know, you're going to buy him a fruit shoot. His fruit shoot's going to be £2 or £3.
Yeah.
I don't think Ronnie's going to be drinking a fruit shoot.
All right, a snake bite then. Bottle of Nuki Brown, and you know, but you're 10, 12 quid a round, aren't you? You go out for 3 or 4 hours, and you're 50, 60, 70 quid in. Yeah. You know, you go out for a night and you're doing 100 quid easy, aren't you?
Well, throwing them.
So you can understand where people, you know, probably choosing to, and I suppose, I think lockdown had an effect. A lot of people started building home bars, you know, buying their own drinks in from the supermarket, and they're all in their own little social, you know, shindigs, if you like, in their own gardens and garages and whatever else they built the man caves in, or women caves, or whatever you want to call them. You know, and so I think that changed massively for a lot of people. But I think there's still room for pubs, obviously, because, you know, nice weather comes eventually, hopefully. People sit in beer gardens and stuff. And
you can see a lot of effort as well that they're going into as well. Like, for instance, well, I'm going to use that as an example. Tiny Rebel. I went to their brewery/bar last year. We went down to Cardiff and we nipped in. I went into 2 of their bars, but went to the actual brewery itself, and the effort that they're going to in the bar, from the food that they do, it's so different. And they've got, you know, these sort of places have got board games galore, different games and stuff, so that you're not just there to drink, you're there to experience the atmosphere, get involved in playing games and doing stuff. And I think that, you know, they are making an effort.
But do you not think that what sometimes that can create, like pubs that really invest into like food or let's say nicer food or live entertainment and stuff, they're aiming it at the people that go out once a week or once a fortnight or whatever, whereas back in our day, you potentially go to the pub 2, 3, 4 times a week.
Well, some people went every day after work.
Some people went
they?
every day.
Yeah.
You know, and that's the thing that I think's gone.
You mean they almost turn it into an event for them to go? if you're going to go out one day a week, say Saturday night, come to us and have your event, because it's not a throwaway thing where you go out 2 or 3, like you said, 2 or 3 nights a week.
Remember, like going into a pub on a Sunday afternoon and there were roast potatoes and Yorkshire puddings on bar.
Yeah,
you know,
absolutely.
Just to like, oh, there's a bit of a snack.
It almost used to be a way of life.
It was
part of the community.
That's why, you look around some of the council estates around the country. There were pubs in the middle of them. They built them in the middle of estates because they were hubs. They were hubs, and I genuinely believe this, that losing some of these places has had a detrimental effect on community.
Yeah.
Because, although I know, things have changed and people have found other things to keep themselves entertained, it's all quite insular. Whereas people used to go into pubs and, you'd be talking to people, kids would be playing with each other. I know things have changed and kids are, they're playing remotely on social media apps and on the video games and whatever. But it was more of a social place to be, wasn't it? It was almost like I wouldn't say a community centre, but it had that sort of feel, didn't it? You went in, you were on first name terms.
It was
with the bar
everybody's
staff.
living room.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, I remember it's similar to that, working men's clubs. So when I was growing up, my dad went to a working man's club. I mean, I know they're still around, but not like they used to be. There used to be an abundance of working men's clubs. And my dad used to go there on a Sunday, and I used to go with him. And, I'd be sat outside with my Chris and my Pop, but I'd go inside. There'd be people on bowling green. There'd be people on snooker table. And working men's clubs were very similar to, because that were a community.
Absolutely.
And there were loads of them. I mean, we had, like, in Hillsborough, where I used to live, I mean, there were 2. I mean, in fact, I think they're still there now. 2 working men's clubs in Hillsborough, in walking distance from his house. And that were very similar to the community type thing.
Well, when I think, obviously, at Thorpe Hesley, where I lived, how many pubs were there literally in walking distance? So you had the Sportsman. If we go from the top, so
I think there was 8. Well, when we were younger, there would have been 8.
8 local pubs.
8 local pubs within walking distance.
Yeah, I mean, one was a little bit further out, the Bay Horse, a little bit further away.
Yeah.
But if you started at one end and you'd say, right, let's start at the ball. Let's start at the ball in, for example. We'll go from the ball in to the Red Lion, to the Masons, to the Horse and Tiger, to the Blacksmiths, then to the Sportsman, then to the Bay Horse. How many is that?
7.
What did I say?
One more.
Did I say 7? Or did I
You
say
said 8.
Did I?
One more for the medal.
There was actually another one in Thorpe Hesley called the New Inn, but that closed down before I can remember.
Yeah.
Right. That's a lot of pubs though. It's a very small
absolutely.
area.
I mean, you just stretch it out a little bit, then you can start
There are
including
8 pubs. There are only 15 people living here.
Well, exactly. I mean, stretch it out a bit further, just literally within maybe a mile or so. Then you've got the Travellers, you've got the Effingham.
Yeah.
And so literally within a relatively short distance, you had maybe anything up to 9, maybe even 10 pubs.
So how many pubs is there now in Thorpe Hesley?
None.
Well,
it's still not bad.
If you were to include what was the Travellers, it's now they're called the Barley. The Barley, the Ball Inn, Red Lion, Horse and Tiger, Masons. That's it.
Still
and the Bay Horse, which is in Scholes.
That's not bad, is it?
That's nearly that's as many as Wickersley. That's I say as many as Wickersley. That's restaurants.
Yeah, but again, at least 2 of them have only just kind of, I don't want to specify because I don't know the detail behind it, but they've kind of rebranded into more food places, haven't they?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
They've been revamped and they've been taken on by new ownership, and
but
they're very much food related.
But it's dry lead, isn't it, rather than wet lead?
Yes. Yeah.
And that's again going back to what we were saying about the difference in what's changed. You used to go to a pub for a pint. You were lucky if they did a pie or, a ploughman's or whatever.
Yeah, absolutely.
Whereas now a pub that doesn't do food, is a big deal. How do they survive?
Mm-hmm.
How do they survive? But what's interesting is if you speak to a lot of people, they say the same thing. They'll say, "Oh, it's a shame that pubs are closing down. It's a shame that local pub." So if people have this general view, why ain't anyone doing anything about it? As in, why is communities not supporting the local pubs more to keep them open?
It comes down to being able to afford it, I think.
Yeah.
It comes down to being able to afford it, and I think they do what they can. They go when they can afford to go, and they say, "Oh, we'll nip for a couple or whatever," and and it's I suppose it's great that they're supporting, but people can only afford to do what they're doing with the cost of living crisis that we've got at the minute. It's a shame, but they're good times to come, I think.
I must admit, I'm always attracted to a place when it's got some form of entertainment or something to offer outside of the realm of you can just get a drink. Because like I said, I can get that in my own, I can have that at home and it's cheaper. So therefore, if there's something on offer that I go, I don't mind paying those drinks prices because I don't go out every night. But I then I don't want and expect something in return. It just, that entices me there. You know, it's something that I would say, lads, there's a quiz on at such and such pub tonight. Do you fancy it? You know, it's a reason to go.
Yeah, it pulls you in.
I like when you walk into a pub, you open the doors and you can hear the ambience, the noise, the glasses chinking, and and people talking, and you can feel the atmosphere. And for me, that's what a pub is all around. You walk in, you can make conversation with somebody that you don't even, well, you might know very little or you don't even know. You can start a conversation about something and just start talking with people, and and that's pubs for me. I think
Did you actually tell us your favourite pub?
Well, bloody, I've been to that many pubs. I can't. I couldn't pick a. But what I will do, just for the record, because I'm not going to pick one of the. But I am going to name check the Horse and Tiger, the Red Lion, and the Bull Inn at Thorpe Hesley. They're 3 cracking pubs, and the effort they put in for the local people is incredible. Putting, and like you say, entertainment and doing what they can to keep people interested. It's fantastic. So I've got to give them a name check. I like, for me, pubs. I like traditional pubs. And what I'm going to say now probably steps away from that. But I like, if I'm going to sit in a pub on an afternoon, I like the old sort of style atmosphere-led pubs rather than the trendy sort of stripped back and that sort of thing. But what I am going to say, I went to a pub and I've only been in there 3 or 4 times ever, and I went in probably the week before last, and I was blown away because I went because there was a gig on, and it's called the Cutlers in Rotherham. I don't know if you know it. And they have,
that's in Rotherham, is it?
That's right. And they have loads of.
Just goes to show you how much he listens to you, doesn't it, Mal?
He said, whereabouts in Rotherham is it? And you went,
that's right.
That's right.
I just let it go.
You said that's in Rotherham, is it? Right.
No,
sorry.
So it's okay. Go on with your story.
It's in Rotherham.
So it's in Rotherham. What did you say?
You know what? It doesn't matter.
Right, so it's just off Westgate.
Okay, right.
So you go from Westgate as if you're going to Alma Road, and the Cutlers is there on the right hand side.
Yep.
In fact, I think it is on Westgate. No, it is on Westgate. It's before you turn on. It is on Westgate.
It's all or nothing.
All right,
I'll ask him a question. Nice. Do you want me to show me a map on your phone?
Yeah. Anyway, so I went in, and I know that they've got a room at the back inside the actual pub with a stage and for gigs and stuff.
Yeah.
And I assumed that this gig I was going to was in that room. It wasn't. So you went through the back door into what would be normally, I suppose, traditionally, it may have been a courtyard or a car park or something, and they'd built like a massive gazebo canopy sort of thing, but properly done. There were hot air blown into it to keep it warm, and it were like inside, outside. It were fantastic.
Okay.
So it were ticketed and everything, and so this band I went to see was they called the Arctic Numpties.
Yeah.
Right. So obviously they're a tribute for the Arctic Monkeys, and they were sensational. And I'm not making any. I won't. They were fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. And so I like pubs where, like I say, I like pubs where that are pubs. You go in for a Saturday afternoon or a Sunday afternoon, you have a couple of pints, and you're having a chin wagon. Football's on TV. Great, brilliant. But I also like the ones that are thinking a little bit more than that. And the Cutlers is very much a traditional pub. You go in, it's all wood inside. It's very traditional, and they've kept the character of what it was, and then they've done that at the back, and it's absolutely incredible. And they were absolutely, honestly, I can't. I'm going off on a bit of a tangent, but I do know that question did suggest 5 some South Yorkshire
I
bands.
definitely want to come back onto that because I actually want to know more about them. But you just hit a nerve there.
Yeah.
One of the things that I found with pubs recently is that I'm not sure, and I might be wrong on this, I don't feel as though they're keeping up with the times. In that, at the minute, there's a huge might be a bit dramatic. There's a big, I don't even know what the word is.
Surprise.
Come on, Rob.
And
A lot of people are all going for the craft beer.
Yeah.
at the
Right.
minute, rather than IPAs or what would you call them? Guest ales. That's what they know. I always class there's guest ales and craft beer, which are very, very similar but very different drinks. And I feel as though a lot of pubs are stuck in the way of guest ales, where you got all your hand pumps and all that, but they're so slow to getting up to speed with the fact that a lot of people are drinking craft beers. All you ever find is cans in the fridge, and you're like, oh, I want something fresh on tap, and I just don't feel as though they're really getting.
I'm not sure I agree.
Really?
Absolutely, and Mark's a perfect example of this, as is my dad, and a lot of people I know that will go out and they'll drink John Smith Smooth.
Hang on a minute. Are you saying I'm the same age as your dad?
You might as well be. But what I'm saying is, you could give them any option of a beer,
Yeah.
and they'll choose that. And also, we should be name chicken beers, I suppose. But there'll be certain drinks, and people will just drink that regardless of what else you put on. And I think there are places for it. Kelham Island is a perfect example. People go there, and the intention of you'll see your camera guys. That's camera, CAMRA, with the little notepads, scoring the beers.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of places around there that do like you say the craft stuff, and I think there's a market for that.
Well, that's my point. In that I could go into some pubs, and there's all those choices that you're saying. There's not one craft beer pub.
What you've got to remember, Rob, it's like Mark was saying earlier. There's so much limitation on pubs that are owned by breweries. You're almost in a frame of mind of if I owned a pub. So if I owned a pub, this is what I'd do because it keeps up with the times or whatever.
Well, you know me. They own a pub, and I'm telling them that I want that.
Yeah, but
regardless of me owning
they
it.
just say no.
No chance, because
They just say no.
and that's my point.
They'll have got to deal with Heineken.
They'll have got deals with where they get their beer from, or it's a brewery led where they only sell their own types of beer. You're licensed in to get the best price you can do. You're licensed in.
So therefore, these breweries need to change what they're making. Not change, add into what they're making so that they can put their own craft
but
beer
they
onto
don't
the
need
tap.
to because they're making a fortune.
Yeah, it's mass produced.
Well,
it's cheaper, isn't it, to mass produce?
I get that, but the conversation we're also having is about the fact that it's diminishing in numbers going to the pub. Yeah. And what I'm saying is, I'm a person that says I'm not going into that pub because they don't do my beer, and it's not a I want a BrewDog Punk IPA. They don't do craft beer.
Yeah. I would say that you probably fall into. Probably not far from single digits in terms of the percentage of people that would go out like you're talking.
I won't argue with
Maybe
that.
10%. But I would certainly say you're definitely in the minority.
I definitely say it's a younger demographic that are going for craft beers. I do get that, but maybe that's where they might be going wrong, in that they're catering for an older market and not the younger market.
Well, what you're basically saying is that, as we've said, the pub trade is dying a little bit in it. They're struggling, should we say? So you're saying that they really should be thinking outside the box, really diversifying the market, and shaking it up.
Yeah,
a little bit. Not that I'm getting into politics here, a bit like politics where there's just Conservatives and Labour. That's all there really is, and it needs a shake up. So it's a bit like going back to the pub trade or the hospitality. Well, not so much hospitality, but pubs. Just shaking all the market up. Like I know Kirk's right. We're all right. That's how pubs operate. That's how they do things.
Yeah.
But maybe it's a time for change.
Yes.
Maybe they should doing something different.
Yeah.
And they're stuck in their ways because this is what we do. This is how we've done it. But as we know, everything changes. Look at TV, BBC ITV. This is how we do it.
Yeah.
No, YouTube's going hello.
It's even that.
It's different things, isn't it?
It's even the fact that if I go into a bar that even did remotely do a new stout or something that's higher percentage, because one thing I am noticing, even if it's not craft beer, some of the beer percentages of alcohol volume is going up, right? But very few places, if you go in and say, can I have 2/3 of that? They go, no, it's a pint or half. And you go, yeah, but half a pint's not enough. A pint's too much. It's 7% what you're serving me. And they haven't even got 2/3 glasses. If you go to what I would consider a proper craft beer pub, you'll find that they serve a beer above 6%, maybe 7%. They'll serve it as 2/3 because they pretty much know you don't really want much more than that, given the volume. So it's even little things like that. And I've said it before in pubs I've gone to and said I can have 2/3. no, we don't do it. And I'll just stand there feeling really frustrated. Like,
I go to some pubs and you ask for a pint, they give you 2/3 anyway.
I'm gonna say,
So if you're listening out there, any breweries, the chatting say change and change with the times. That's what we say.
That's
That's what
Rob
Rob's
says.
saying.
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying too.
Yeah.
I'll back that.
Yeah,
so,
play it to the minority.
so back on the question then about the bands. Then you mentioned
Yeah.
earlier that you went to see Arctic Numpties.
Arctic Numpties, yeah.
So they were a tribute band to Arctic Monkeys. Obviously, the second part of that question was top 5 or favourite music artists from South Yorkshire. Now, I've got to be honest and say, do you know what? My music knowledge and music trivia, unless it's Michael Jackson, is absolutely non-existent. I don't think
He's not from Barnsley.
I don't
is he?
think he's from South Yorkshire.
And I'm exactly the same. If it's not Celine Dion, you know.
Yeah, I'm
Stand
gonna,
to me and Marley.
yeah, schoolers, please. Let's,
Well, there's one band that you certainly won't like from South Yorkshire, and that's Pulp.
don't get me started on Pulp.
Let's talk about Pulp. Let's talk about Pulp.
Just after it's followed it up by Michael Jackson.
Yeah.
Don't get me started on that dickhead. Anyway,
What
carry
actually
on.
happened with that? Did he?
Don't
did
get
he-
him started. Don't.
They were mooning him once while they were on stage, or mooning cameras and stuff.
Well, that Brit Awards or
Brit
something.
Awards,
Yeah, Brit
98,
Awards.
was it? Was it 98?
I don't know the year. It was just pathetic. I mean, you got someone in the
What,
realms
Michael
of,
Jackson were,
of,
or-
of Michael
No, it'd been
Jackson,
earlier than 98, probably 96, I reckon, 97.
and you've got what's he called, Cocker or something.
Jarvis Cocker.
That's
Jarvis
him.
Cocker.
You know, thinking, oh, I know what, I'll take some of his limelight away, and I'll absolutely.
Can I ask you a question? Did you like him before he did that? As
Who?
in, I don't mean Michael Jackson. I mean, I'm going to say Joe Cocker then.
I like Joe Cocker.
Jarvis Cocker. Did you like him before?
I'd
that?
never heard of him. He were a
Right,
nobody.
okay.
In the grand scheme of things, compared to Michael Jackson, let's face it, Pulp were a nobody compared to Michael Jackson. Anyway, I told you not to get me started
We said
on
don't
that.
get him started.
I told you.
Mark.
In goes the hand grenade.
Go on.
So, favourite South Yorkshire bands? I think,
Yeah.
I mean, the thing is, it'd be easy to do the commercial ones. Well, I say commercial ones. The more commercially successful ones.
That's all I can start with.
Well, so Arctic Monkeys, obviously.
Yeah, that is it for me.
Reverend and the Makers are fantastic. And also fantastic live.
Right.
The Rev, John McClure, is so energetic when he's on. What he's a proper frontman, as far as I see it, jumping around and absolutely brilliant live.
Just before you move on,
Yeah.
I'm just going to say, because it would have been my only shout,
Yeah,
not only, but one of the main is Arctic Monkeys. And
Yeah.
back in the day, they were brilliant. But
Yeah.
like now, there's just a bit of a meh. You know,
Yeah,
they've
and
changed
they-
so much, haven't they?
absolutely. And even sort of doing the live stuff, they've gone a bit cool, if you
Yeah.
like, and almost a bit too cool.
Yeah.
When we saw them at Hillsborough and in Hillsborough Park, and very, I won't say so. Just too cool for
A
school.
bit arrogant, almost.
A little bit.
I
A
saw
little
them at
bit.
Glastonbury,
I mean,
same thing.
nice. I think it's great when artists evolve.
Yeah.
But to be, come and play your hometown, and bearing in mind they're big Sheffield Wednesday fans. So to stand on that stage in Hillsborough Park, and if he was to look right off that stage, he could see Hillsborough Stadium, the football ground. He could see that. He made no reference at all to anything. And I'm not a Sheffield Wednesday fan, but I was stood there thinking, surely this is your bread and butter. These people here were supporting you when you were starting out, and you're on that stage now. You made no there's no like, oh, it's nice to be home or anything. There was nothing. Very little. Just hello Sheffield and started playing. That was it.
Yeah.
Hello Sheffield, like you'd never been before.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Which but kudos to the success, because what they've done is absolutely off the scale, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
So who else is there?
Well, there's some old school. I mean, for my age, I've sort of grew up with Human League, ABC, that sort of thing. So they're the Sheffield bands I'm going to say.
Are Def Leppard?
Def Leppard are
Absolutely.
Sheffield.
See,
Yeah,
they
yeah,
would be on
yeah.
my list.
Yeah.
What about Dire Straits? And, honestly,
they're Wakefield.
I think I've got it. I've had it in my head for years that they're from Sheffield, and I
What,
bet they're not.
really?
Are they?
What?
Dire Straits?
Yeah.
I mean, don't get me wrong, there are Dire Straits in Sheffield. There's Dire Straits rather in a lot of places in South Yorkshire. We're all feeling the pinch, aren't we?
Well, Dire Straits is teaming up with Chris Rea, do you know?
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, here we go.
For a tour or?
Well, they're going to call themselves Chris Straits.
Is that a joke?
Well, think about it.
Chris
Dire
Strait.
Straits and Chris Rea teaming up.
Chris
The
Straits.
punchline would be, Mark knows it, you two don't.
I've no idea what you're talking about.
Tell him, Mark.
Diarrhea?
And that's why I said Chris Straits.
Yeah.
Oh, it's
It was
Mark,
too easy, that,
it's
Mark.
I know, it's just wasted on these two.
I'm a bit embarrassed by that. We didn't even get that.
Even when I said Chris Straits, I thought they were going to I weren't
So some
expecting you
other
to say
artists
that.
then from Sheffield. Or South. Well, I'm picking Sheffield because it's like Sheffield's
Yeah.
almost. Although actually, no, I'm going to step outside of Sheffield and back to Rotherham because
Oh,
the
right.
Raytons.
Oh, yeah, well,
The
yeah.
Raytons, they are absolutely kicking it.
I've never seen them.
Have you not?
No, I
They're
actually
brilliant
don't
live.
even know if I've heard
And do you know
one of the
something?
songs.
It's July. They're at Clifton Park.
Is that them that did the Kids from the Estate? or
Kids Off
something?
the Estate,
Kids
yeah.
Off the Estate.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've heard that song. You'll have heard that, Rob.
I probably have.
You have.
Yeah.
You'll have
Yeah,
heard
you
that.
would have heard it.
And they did one of the lyrics in one of their songs was when Clifton Park was Disneyland, Kids Off the Estate.
Yeah.
And so the fact that they're actually playing Clifton Park is absolutely. You want to say genius, don't you? Because it's like sort of come full circle.
Are they young lads?
A little
youngish.
bit younger than us. Not overly young. I think Johnny Yerrill's probably mid-30s.
Is that?
Oh, wow, I thought they were younger than
Oh,
that.
I thought they were.
I thought they were like in the 20s.
Arctic Monkeys age, like 21, 22.
Arctic Monkeys are in the 40s.
No. When Arctic Monkeys started out, they were
started.
sixth form. They'd only just left
in the
school.
40s. How old's Alex Turner? Probably no, actually, probably the same age, I reckon.
Really? I've seen video Kids Off the Estate, and they only look young because it's obviously filmed in and around Rotherham.
I mean, we're going to have to
and
Google
Clifton Park.
Arctic Monkeys. I thought Arctic Monkeys
know
had
what?
just left school.
I thought they were only in the 20s and young lads.
Are we talking about Raytons or Arctic Monkeys? I'm confused.
I'm
Ratings.
talking about.
Well,
I'm talking about Arctic Monkeys.
well, yeah, well,
People wonder why I'm going grey.
So mid to late 30s, I'm certain of it. So other bands then, other bands that you'll be aware of from, well, they're not from South Yorkshire, but they were formed in South Yorkshire. Maloko.
yeah.
Sing it back.
Oh, yeah. They just had that one song, though.
No.
Oh.
They had a couple, but that's the most
obviously,
famous.
Rasheen Murphy, she's obviously Irish, but they were formed in Sheffield. I don't know if they went to university or something in Sheffield. Or
I think they
were
met.
doing something in
Yeah.
Sheffield together, and then that's where they were formed.
Arctic Monkeys was 16 when they released their first album.
Were they?
16, 17.
Wow.
Wow.
I thought they were just literally in sixth form.
Yeah.
Wow.
Do you know, interestingly, Alex Turner's dad was Helen's music teacher at school.
Really?
yeah, Romarsh Camp.
Wow.
Yeah.
Go on, who else?
Kaiser Chiefs, their Leeds.
Oh, I know them.
Oh, you know them?
Yeah,
They're
know them.
not South Yorkshire.
No, the Leeds,
They're
aren't they?
West
But-
Yorkshire.
Yeah.
West Yorkshire, they're different
Do we
people.
not talk about West Yorkshire people?
They're different people.
What about
about-
Joe Cocker? He's from Sheffield.
Yeah, he is. Joe Cocker is.
really?
Yeah. What about
What's his name? Amarillo guy.
Tony Christie?
Yeah, he's from Sheffield.
Well, I was thinking.
Tony Christie.
Who
Yeah.
was it that did St Elmo's Fire?
Oh, John Parr.
John Parr. He's
Yeah.
from Doncaster.
Yes.
Yeah, he's from Conisbrough, I think.
Yeah, he
Conisbrough,
is.
yeah, that's
Yep.
right.
Yeah,
So-
John Parr.
You seem to have a lot of knowledge about this. So, who would you say is the most successful band to come out of South Yorkshire then, or artist to come out of South
Ooh.
Yorkshire?
Potentially, and I'm just thinking longevity-wise, do you think could be Def Leppard? Or do you think Arctic Monkeys just purely because of when they went so
Well,
big, they were massive?
I suppose it's what you class as successful.
Yeah,
isn't it?
Yeah,
I mean,
I mean-
obviously Def Leppard started. They've been going
Forgot
longer.
Arctic Monkeys have
Oh,
headlined Glastonbury twice, have they?
I don't know.
Yeah, they have.
So
Depends how you
I
sort
would
of say
definitely say it's
successful.
between them two,
So-
but for very different reasons.
yeah,
I mean, we can't say Arctic Monkeys until they've done the same lifespan as Def Leppard.
Well, shall I
So if
check
they-
who's
but
actually
we don't
sold
wanna
the
know
most
that, are we?
records?
I mean, Def
Yeah,
Leppard,
Google it by all means.
Google it. Yeah,
Def Leppard were big in America, and I think they still are quite big in
I
America.
think that's the
but-
thing, isn't it? When you start measuring success, especially with like artists and,
And then-
stuff, it's whether they've managed to break across the pond, if you
certain,
like.
certain
isn't it?
markets.
Yeah.
Then you say success. Do you mean in album sales or in income? Because obviously, I know you might say, well, if they've got loads of sales, they've got loads of income, but not necessarily so, because a lot of bands make the money from tours.
Yeah.
So they might sell
And
loads of
different
albums,
times, different
times.
decades.
So it's
Yeah.
hard to say most successful. I suppose you've got to see it from a commercial point of view.
I suppose in my head, I could kind of say, right, well, if they both released tour tickets tomorrow morning,
Yeah.
which would sell out first?
yeah.
I mean,
What in Sheffield or?
just yes. I don't know.
It's
I'm
hard to
just trying
say,
to think
innit?
of a measuring stick of who we think.
Yeah,
you
true.
know.
Oh, I'll tell you who I've not mentioned. Bring Me the Horizon
Oh,
from Sheffield.
Oh, okay.
And
Yeah.
I'll tell you something. They are incredible live.
Yeah.
They're a metal band, and they are incredible. And my daughter Leonie, she absolutely loves Ollie.
You say every band that you've seen is incredible live. Is anybody that you... I mean, I'm not taking that away from you. I'm sure they are. Listen, I'm not...
Well, like I said, I saw Arctic Monkey. I've seen Arctic Monkeys a couple of times, and I wouldn't say underwhelming, but they could have been better.
Right.
Whereas you go and see some bands, and it's like they just absolutely kick it out the park.
Time at the bar, please.
To answer your question, Def Leppard have sold more records overall compared to Arctic Monkeys. It doesn't
And they've
give
been going
figures.
probably
But they've
20
been going
years
longer, haven't they? So
Yeah.
they've got to...
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
suppose that's the only measuring stick we've got, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
Let's be right.
Anyway, we've got another email.
Oh.
I know.
Okay.
It hasn't just dropped since we've been recording, but let me
What's
just
your
find
favourite
it.
South Yorkshire postcode?
Well. Before you read that, Rob, thank you very much, Jake, for those questions.
Yeah.
As you can see, we appreciate the questions coming in. It certainly takes us off on a bit of a tangent, so keep them coming in.
Yeah.
Actually, if we've missed any, let us know. Find us on socials and let us know if we've missed any artists that you know from Yorkshire and we've missed them.
Yes, absolutely.
Right, so it goes like this. This is from John. Hi guys, just wanted to let you know that I have recently found your podcast and I'm currently working my way through it. I'm about the same age as you guys and can relate to a lot of the subjects you talk about, and I love your sense of humour. Thank you.
Cool.
I always say a podcast should be like listening to your mates, and you guys do that brilliantly. Here's one for you to discuss. Shag, marry, avoid. Oh dear. Megan Fox, Taylor Swift, or Katy Perry?
And on that note,
Yep. See you later. Bye.
Do you have a dilemma? Maybe a burning question you're longing to be answered? Or you just want to get in touch with us? Why not drop us a voice note or a message over email at innthechat@gmail.com. That's 2 N's, not 1 N, because 1 N, it doesn't matter. Innthechat@gmail.com. We look forward to hearing from you.